Welcome to the presentation on staff development for EDU C 590. Most of the information for this presentation was gathered from Anthony Muhammad's book entitled Transforming School Culture: How to Overcome Staff Division. His book was published by Solution Tree Press in 2009. This is the second part of the presentation, which focuses on creating a productive school culture and sharing my success story. Creating a productive school culture poses some questions to consider when implementing change. Two key questions are the root of your considerations. What is the right change for my school to embrace? How do we get all of our staff members to embrace this change and actively apply the right methods once we have identified them? After you've considered the answers to those first questions, next you need to think about those that might oppose the change that you are considering your staff and your school to embrace. Think about, why do people resist change? What conditions motivate people to change? And how can leaders create the conditions that would motivate people to accept change? In creating productive school culture, school leaders need to provide clear and logical reasoning for the change. They need to not make it authoritative or mandated strictly on the basis of coercion. You need to provide data to support your reasoning, to inspire, not threaten. And tie the change in with educational research that explains the effectiveness of the initiative. You need to show how the idea matches with the goals and mission statements of the school, district, or organization. These ideas tend to work with your level 1 fundamentalists, those who don't see the reasoning behind the change and are in opposition to it. Level 2 fundamentalists are harder to convince. These educators don't trust the judgment of the leaders. Therefore, the school leader needs to rebuild the trust of those educators. How? Through several different ways. By celebrating the accomplishments regularly of their school, the teachers, and the students within it. Not to revel in the spotlight, to be modest about the changes that are happening. School leaders need to stick to the rules and not make exceptions for certain teachers. They need to make sure to indicate that it was a team effort and using the words we instead of me when discussing the change. School leaders need to do what they promise to do. And they should not negate the viewpoints of others that are against the change, even if they do disagree. Your level 3 and 4 fundamentalists will need more encouragements. Therefore, school leaders need to rebuild competence in themselves. They need to stay well versed in the knowledge of the change that they want to happen. They need to provide opportunities for teachers to enhance their skills. They need to know the history of change within the school and articulate how the new vision will make improvements. And they also need to show that they are a lifelong learner in regards to the change that they want to happen. School leaders also need to alleviate the stress about the change. They need to provide time for change to be implemented, make it a long-term goal, and provide multiple opportunities and professional development growth in order to meet the change. They need to create diverse teams where teachers can talk and provide insights and collaborate about solutions to make sure that the initiative does happen. You're going to find that there are still those that oppose the change. In the end, leaders will need to send the message that this change is non-negotiable and will happen. The final showdown may occur and the school leader must win. The good news is that many times when a shift does happen, the majority, if not all of the staff, becomes believers after providing clear, reasonable logic to the initiative, along with research and data, developing trust, and allowing for professional development and knowledge on the topic of the initiative, laying out the end game and holding all involved accountable for ensuring the change is implemented. So some final things to reflect on. In developing a systematic and school-wide focus on learning, share some common traits. Everyone on board should have a common vocabulary of expectations and methods. They should ensure the staff focuses on solutions instead of complaining. and create teacher buy-in so as to best expedite the process of change. Celebrations are huge when implementing change. Be sure to provide consistent reinforcement about what is important. This can be done publicly with things as mobile awards, those that are passed around every couple weeks to identify the successes happening. And this can be one that is designated by school leaders or by staff members themselves in order to make it authentic. However, be careful. Something which encourages recognizing all members. Make sure not to exclude. Or you can just you can do some kind of recognition that isn't so public, such as individual notes of congratulations given by school leaders. Impromptu celebrations are also powerful, identifying successes without the staff knowing. These types of regular, all-inclusive, and authentic celebrations build trust and allow staff members to feel more connected to their school community. Another idea is to reflect upon is providing guidance for the tweeners. School leaders need to groom these educators and pair them with teachers who reflect the goal of the school. Provide mentors to help them through the school system so the tweeners can contribute to the positive, productive school culture and change. You need to make sure to create a culture of collaboration to break down the walls of isolation. PLC meetings should enforce the idea that we are stronger together than apart and work towards a shared vision. Give the staff the tools they need to implement the change. Provide them with the professional development needed to support the initiative. Lastly, encourage the teachers within your school to step into a leadership role. Guide them toward being a teacher leader amongst their peers with the end goal in mind. Ultimately, remind teachers that the focus is on the student and their successes in the classroom will be the catalyst for student successes in their life. I want to end with my success story. My school did this when we were thinking of adopting a block scheduling. We had an 8-period day with 42-minute periods. About a few years before the change took effect, a survey went out to the staff about what we knew about block scheduling and the experiences we've had and how we felt about moving to that format. With the results in mind, our principal, lead teacher, and other teachers in our school went about researching what the change would mean. The next year, our social studies and science teachers went about piloting the block. In this pilot, the teachers had students every other day, taking up 2 back-to-back periods. The social studies and science teachers would come back and report out at team meetings and staff meetings the advantages and disadvantages of the block as they saw it. The advantages way outweighed the bad. The whole next year, staff spent in services with experts from Cardinal Stritch and attended staff meetings learning how to implement the block schedule, different ways to plan for the extended period, the importance of movement and brain breaks within the longer time frame, plus many other best practice strategies to help break up the 84-minute blocks. We didn't want to have teachers just lecturing for the whole 84 minutes and students just idly sitting by. All the training and planning up front made the transition happen smoothly, and all teachers were invested. Everything we learned went into how we changed and ran our classrooms. Now, no one could ever think of going back to those 42-minute periods, which now seems like not enough time to fit in all that we do through our new block schedule. So keep in mind with any change that you want to happen in your school that it does take baby steps, as you saw in our success story. We were 3 years in the making of the switch over to the block scheduling, and everyone's opinions were taken into consideration. We piloted, we did the research, we looked at the data, and we found that it was a much better situation for our students and our staff ultimately in the end. Fundamentalists, they have all of their beliefs, they have the best intentions in their hearts. However, some of their beliefs get in the ways of making the new change happen, because change is hard for anyone. So always keep in mind that whenever you make some kind of change happen, you need to take those little baby steps. You need to have everyone involved. You need to have everyone feeling that their voice does matter. But in the end, the change needs to happen, and you need to make that be evident to your staff.